Welcome to the Doug in a Pub podcast, where I share thoughts, stories, and conversations about my life and my journey post-suicide attempt.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
So pull up a stool and let's see if we can change the world. Hi, I'm Doug. I'll be your host for Doug in a Pub. I'm 52 years old. I have 2 grown children of my own, and I have 2 stepchildren who are also grown. This journey for me started when my marriage ended after 19 and a half years. Late December 2010, I attempted to end my own life. Since then, it's been a journey of self-discovery and trying to figure out who I am, just moving forward. And people have asked me to share my story, so I thought I would start doing that.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
One of the things I did as I started my life over after my suicide attempt was really pay attention to word choice. Both the words I use internally in your inner monologue, or dialogue I should say, and the words I use when talking about other people or things out in the world. And one of the first words I really played with was the word hate. I think it's a really lazy word. By lazy, I mean what you do when you use the word hate is you take all these other things and you boil them down to this one simple word that has a lot of weight, but not, to me, not a lot of meaning. Instead of hate, you should say, I don't hate Brussels sprouts. I don't like the way they taste, the way they smell. I don't like the way they've been prepared for me. If you start taking the word hate and you make it more verbose, you start thinking about the components that go into the emotions that shape that word for that situation. It really changes how you perceive that word and how you operate with it. When my marriage ended, I can honestly say I hated my ex. And the more I thought about what went into that hate, what went into that feeling, I came to the realization that I was just mad the way it happened, about the timing of the whole thing. Who am I to be mad at her for trying to become happy? So once I started to think about what went into the components of that emotion, that, quote-unquote hate, it really helped me separate it back out and come more to terms with how I was actually feeling and, stop having it being a lazy word and having it turn into something with some meaning. I gave it some emotion instead of just a label. And that's something that's really been important for me, this whole word choice thing. I know I've blogged about it before. There's some posts on it on my website, DougInAPub.com, down in there someplace. And actually at one point, because I was using so many negative words all the time, and I knew it was having an effect on my, emotional state, my happiness, my well-being, I got one of those clicker counters that, you go into some place at a bar and they're counting people as they come in. I got one of those, and I literally carried it in my hand all day, and every time I used a negative word, whether it was just internally or externally, I clicked it. And boy, does that open your mind up when you realize how, at least for me, how often I use negative words and how negatively I spent my time. And that bad space that I spent that time in was affecting how I related to myself, how I related to the world, how I related to people around me. Once I did that for a few days, carried that clicker around, I really stopped using the negative words, just in general across the board. Yeah, hate was the big one for me. Just a lazy word that it lets people get away with not thinking about what they feel or how they feel. Oh, I hate that. I hate that politician. I hate that person because they did this. And to me, it's a shortcut. And I try not to take shortcuts when it comes to my emotional well-being. So yeah, next time you use the word hate, think about what causes that feeling. What gets you to the point where you actually say you hate something or someone, and start breaking it down into the individual components of that word and try to get a better grasp on what your feelings actually are and how they fit into the world. So yeah, that's the word for this podcast. Hate. Stop using it. One of the things I'm going to wind up talking about quite a bit, or referencing at least, is my suicide attempt, which fortunately was unsuccessful, and the role that played in me becoming who I am today. Before my suicide attempt, when I say I was a different person, I truly was. Most of it internal. I don't think a lot of people will notice the changes like I have, only because I know the way I used to think and I know the way I think now. Back then, I was a pro Second Amendment. Everybody should have guns. Yeah, just so different. And now I'm pretty much a pacifist socialist, if that makes any sense. But yeah, the transition has been amazing. And so much of it, like I'll talk about, is word choice. Because the words I use internally were so negative and so bad and just kept pulling me back to that negative place. But, words are so important. And, when it comes to suicide, I lost my nephew just over a year ago. He was 44 at the time. And that was pretty rough. That one still gets me. He was the little brother I never had. My first memory of him was, I think he was maybe a year old, and he came into the living room of my parents' house, and I was building something with Legos, because that's what I always was doing. And he walked up, and he grabbed part of it and broke it off. Well, not broke, but took it off. And I just reached out and shoved him to the floor, and I got in all sorts of trouble. He was the one breaking my Legos, but I got in trouble. Yeah, suicide is one of those things we don't talk about nearly often enough. I think we're talking about it more. I think society's becoming more open to the idea that we need to talk about it. We need to move it away from being the stigma. I'm not embarrassed by the fact I tried to kill myself. I'm not proud of it either. It's what I did, and it's just who I am now, and it's just part of me. It was an event that, better or for worse, led me to be who I am now. I have friends who have lost children to suicide. I have friends of mine who were walking that line and reached out to me, and I talked to them. And some of them I talked to once. And the first time somebody told me that, the fact that I talked to them and was there when they needed somebody, saved their lives, boy, that was... At first I cried like a baby, and just the sense of responsibility that I felt when I heard that the first time, and I've heard it a few times now, it made me think that I really need to do this, that I need to share my story more. As a society, we really need to spend more time talking about mental health, and it's an invisible illness, an invisible disease, and everybody has something going on. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's got troubles and things they struggle with. And the more we talk about it, the more we share the fact that we struggle, that, today was a bad day and I hit a wall and I didn't know how to get past it. And the more we talk to each other about these things, the more likely it is we'll go, wait a minute, they have problems too, or they struggle. Some of my heroes in the public sector that talk about this are Will Wheaton. Man, he is so open and honest, and his story is so moving to me. Truly, here's someone I think he's relatively famous, and he shares how he struggles every day, and you'd think he has it all together. He's done movies, he's been on TV shows, but he struggles just like every single one of us. And another one is Felicia Day, who's in that same geek realm as Will, but she struggled tremendously, and you look at her and you think she's so successful. And one of the things that makes me think about is, there's the old saying, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. I like to say everybody poops. Yeah, we need to talk about it more. We need to be honest. We need to say, I'm struggling, and it's okay to struggle. It's okay to be weak. It's okay to have trouble and to falter and to fall down. And when you're on the ground, it's okay to reach up and ask someone to help you back up. One of the strongest things you can do is to ask for help. People say it's a sign of weakness. Oh, you needed help to do that. No, it takes strength, because what you're doing when you ask for help is you're relinquishing power. You're saying, you know what, I don't have the ability to do this for myself. Can someone help me up and carry me for a little bit until I can get walking again and start to pick up speed again? And when somebody helps you, if you fall back down, just ask again. I always say life is a team sport, and we're all on exactly the same team. Another thing I want to talk about is a singer named Amanda Palmer. I think of her more as an author because of her book called The Art of Asking. And that book changed my life. It truly, truly changed how I interact with the world. And basically the premise of it, to really compact a book that will make you laugh and cry into a couple of sentences. And I'll talk about that book more in a future podcast. But you need to ask. Asking someone for something is a huge gift to them. Because doesn't it make you feel good when you get to help somebody? Oh, so-and-so called me to help move, and I got to help move, and it was great, it was fun. I got to do this thing for them. So asking someone for help, you're saying, can you help me? And you're offering them the chance, the ability to help you. They get to give you a gift of their time, and they feel better because they were able to help. And the more we do that, the more we ask for help, the more we help others, the more we share the struggles we have, the fact that we all fall down. Every single one of us falls down. Some people fall down every day, some people fall down once a year. But we all do. I've had struggles since my suicide attempt, but, fortunately I have a tremendous support structure around me now. I have friends the likes of which I didn't know existed. Had I known I could have friendships like I have now and feel the love I feel now, I wouldn't have made the attempt. I would have just said, you know what, I need to change my life, and changed it. But I was so, caught up in that hole, kind of changing topic a little bit. But, depression is a liar. I was so lost and I was so far in that hole that if somebody had thrown a ladder down, I wouldn't have seen it. I was too far down and it was too dark and there was no out. The night before my suicide attempt, I actually went to a party. I had a really good time and met some people and laughed and it was great. But that didn't deter my plan. It didn't change me. But, that's kind of jumping around a bit here, but this is a weird topic and a giant topic. One of the things, the people I know who have lost people to suicide, one of the things they've asked me is, what could I have done? What did I miss something? Did I not say the right thing? Did I, whatever? But no, you can do absolutely everything right. You can say all the right things. You can notice all the signs. You can be there 24/7. It doesn't matter. If the person's got the plan, odds are they're going to follow through. It sounds horrible to say, but it's true. I mean, I don't think, like I said, I went to a party the night before and it didn't stop me. I had a great time. There was actually a girl at the party that I went, a girl. But it didn't stop me. It didn't change my determination to make the attempt. So all we can do is continue to be there, continue to help each other, continue to watch for the signs, and know that even if we do all the right things, it might never be enough. If the person's in a bad enough spot and the world is dark enough, it doesn't matter. You can shine a million spotlights at them, and it's never going to reach the bottom of the well, which is terrible. It sucks that the brain can do that to itself. Yeah, suicide is one of those things we need to talk about, and I'm sure I'll be talking about it more on this podcast. I know I bounced around quite a bit on this one. Yeah, so if you need anything, reach out to your friends, reach out to me. My email address is on my website, and reach out. I've talked to people from all over the place. I'm no counselor. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude who tried to kill himself and then tried to figure out how to live again. And I've talked to some people that are struggling, and they tell me it's helped, and I have to take their word for it. Other than that, yeah, we got to watch each other's backs, It's funny, when I say I'm a different person than I used to be, kind of bringing this back to the beginning. Back when Hillary Clinton was saying it takes a village, that phrase used to just piss me off. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It takes parents and, yada, yada, yada. And now I'm like, no, it absolutely takes a village. We are each other's keepers. We are here to keep each other safe and to try to spread love through the world and to show compassion for one another. So I think that's about it for this one. Yeah, just ask for help. If you see somebody struggling, help. The worst thing that'll happen is they'll say, please don't help. The best thing that'll happen is you might save somebody's life. Thanks. Well, now that we get the heavy lifting out of the way, I'm going to tell you a little story to kind of lighten the mood to end this up. So on Facebook, I follow a lot of friends, and a friend of mine in Portland posted a thing about, she gets all these weird coupons about adult toys. And she put up a post saying, hey, I've got this coupon for adult toys. Does anybody want to help my friends buy some adult toys? So they put up their email addresses, and I started PayPaling these complete strangers, like $10 a piece. And so I did it, and then, it was a lot of laughing and funny. And then another one, it was $10. Another one was $10. So here I am, randomly giving people I don't know at all $10 each to buy some sort of sex toy. But, it was a riot. I laughed my butt off when we were doing that. But what that made me think about is, when you go through life, you think about the moments you have to change someone's life, to affect somebody. And yeah, it was $60, which it's in some months it's a lot of money, and other months it's not much for me. But to be able to do that, to give people enjoyment, make them laugh, and, because of what they bought, give them something else. But it was just really funny. And, the opportunity to change someone's life or to have an impact, we need to watch for those things. Watch for those moments when you can say hello, open a door, carry somebody's groceries, help them with anything. And it can be the tiniest thing. Look for opportunities to show compassion and to offer something to someone. And then to close this up, future podcasts, there are a lot of people I'm going to have conversations with, musicians, people that are creative, people who have affected my life or changed my life. Whenever I can, I'm going to talk to brewers, bartenders, whoever. I'm going to talk a lot about words and word choice. I think that's a great place to start. And then just whatever is hitting my mind that day, I'm going to talk about. A lot of this podcast is for me, just to continue to grow and to become who I'm going to be down the road. And I'll cover a lot of topics. There's not a topic I won't talk about. If you want to ask me questions, Go to my Facebook page, my website, wherever. I'm pretty much Doug in a Pub everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, DougInAPub.com. Hey, ask me questions. I will literally answer any question you give me. So we'll see what happens. But thanks for listening. This is my first one, so I'm assuming things will get better over time. I hope so. I know this was a little rough, but I've had some friends that have helped me with some of the editing, some comments and feedback, so I've gone back through and recorded things and added things. But hopefully after I've done this for a while, it'll be nice and smooth, and hopefully people will listen and get something out of it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Doug in a Pub podcast. You can find me at DougInAPub.com. Please email with any questions or comments. Music provided by Oh My Love. You can find them at ohmylovemusic.com. Talk to you later.